Who doesn't like a good old muscle car, especially when it's a 1964 Ford Mustang? With its screaming engines and sleek looks, this is a car that stole the hearts of many gearheads. Want to know more about this bad boy? Stay till the end to find out why this car was the most complete muscle car, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in. To know about the Mustang, you must know about Ford. Founded by the great Henry Ford II in 1903, Ford took the market by storm. From making Jeeps, trucks, and cars, Ford tried their hand in muscle cars for the first time in 1964. Because the timing of the car's introduction clashed perfectly with the first wave of the post-war baby boom, the Mustang entered the market with a strong force. This was the first time a sporty yet family car had entered the market. The 1964 Mustang was the first of its kind, introducing a new class of pony cars and creating a craze among the general public. Ford went out of its way to promote the Mustang, printing massive ads in the newspaper, playing ads during primetime television, and placing the Mustang front and center at its World Fair Pavilion. On March 9, 1964, a sleek-looking muscle car started its production in the Ford factory. This was going to be revolutionary, as it was going to be the first ever muscle car built by the great American company. Shortly after its production, the Mustang was sold on April 14, 1964 at the George Parsons Ford dealership in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. In the U.S., the Mustang was introduced on April 17, 1964, and this car just conquered the automobile market. On the first day, almost 22,000 Mustangs were sold, and by the end of 1964, Ford had sold more than 263,000 Mustangs all over the world. By its first anniversary, 418,812 Mustangs had been sold by Ford. This is the first ever Ford Mustang sold ever in the world. Just look at that, it's $1 million piece. Gail Wise and her husband Tom were the lucky couple who bought the first ever Mustang in 1964, and 60 years later, they still own it. They have taken care of that car like a baby. Gail was also the first woman in the world to own a Mustang. The idea of making a Mustang was first born in the mind of Lee Iacocca in 1961. He wanted a four-seater car with horsepower that cost less than $2,500. For example, a college graduate could choose a base car with a straight six engine, 3-speed manual gearbox, and a bare interior for as little as $2,400. A young executive could choose a convertible with a V8 engine, automatic transmission, fancy interior decorations, and much luxurious equipment at double the price, and a gearhead could buy a high-output V8, 4-speed manual box, limited slip differential, sport suspension, and tires at extra costs. His idea of creating an affordable and sporty car for the younger generation gave birth to the Ford Mustang of 1964. Now, let's talk about the car. The Mustang had a long hood and a short rear end. It had a simple grille like the iconic galloping Mustang. The car was a perfect combination of sport and elegance. The interior had bucket seats that gave a sporty look. The car was available with features such as power steering, disc brakes, and air conditioning. Let's see what this car is packing underneath its hood. The Mustang came in 3 different engine types, 170 cubic inches, 260, and 289 cubic inches. The 170 cubic inch engine had a 2.8-liter inline 6-cylinder that produced 105 horsepower and 212 nanometers of torque. Would you believe me if I said this was the least powerful Mustang? Well, you have to, because the 260 cubic inch 4.3-liter V8 engine produced a staggering 164 horsepower and 350 nanometers of torque. Although this seems impressive, there's yet another Mustang that packs more horsepower than these two. The 289 cubic inch 4.7-liter V8 engine version was introduced later in the 1964 Mustang models. This engine produced 271 horsepower and 423 nanometers of torque. The Mustang was a two-door car that came in hardtop and softtop convertible options. The frame design is the same for both hardtops and convertibles. It was also available with a 3- and 4-speed manual gearbox or a 3-speed automatic gearbox. Which of the Mustang variants from 1964 would you choose? Part of its success was down to the handsome styling, especially the original design running from 1964 to 1966 model year. On the later models of the Mustangs, the designs had changed to a more muscular look. Largely, the Mustang was mechanically based on the contemporary Falcon and Fairlane sedan. Although it was based on the Falcon, the Mustang's body shell was completely different from the Falcon's, sporting a shorter wheelbase, wider track, lower seating position, and overall height. The Ford Mustang can be considered one of Ford's greatest contributions to the automobile industry. This muscle car can go from 0 to 60 in 8.2 seconds. It was the second fastest car in 1964, just below the Pontiac GTO. The Mustang also has a very sweet sound. In August 1964, Ford asked Carroll Shelby to design a high-performance street car, and he did make one. This gave birth to the Mustang GT350 and GT500. This sporty version of the Mustangs gave a big boost to the car. It has competed in SCCAB production road racing. Now the Mustang is a car that races in NASCAR. Mustang has also made plenty of Hollywood appearances. During its first year of production, the 1964 Mustang made its Hollywood debut in the James Bond film Goldfinger. Given its sleek design, powerful engine, and raging popularity among young Americans, it's no surprise that the Mustang became the go-to vehicle among filmmakers. 4 years later, the Mustang cemented its status in Hollywood even further by making a legendary appearance in the 1968 film Bullitt, starring Steve McQueen. Since the 1960s, the Mustang has appeared in hundreds of Hollywood films. Some films include Gone in 60 Seconds, Charlie's Angels, The Fast and the Furious, John Wick, and I Am Legend, and many others. In March 1966, the 1 millionth Mustang rolled off the assembly line, and in 2004, Ford built its 300 millionth car, a 2004 Mustang GT convertible 40th anniversary model. Over the decades, the Mustang underwent numerous evolutions, and it remains in production today. Even though there have been other muscle cars like the Dodge Charger and Chevrolet Camaro that gave stiff competition to the Mustangs, the Ford Mustang will always be a fan favorite. Now in its 7th generation and officially celebrating 60 years of production, the Mustang has maintained its legendary status for 6 decades. While the new generation Mustang models are stunning and powerful, nothing can compare to the iconic status that the original 1964 Mustang embodies. That's it for today's video. Now, what do you think about the Ford Mustangs, and which Mustang is your personal favorite? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up if you liked the video, and please make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss our next episode in the Muscle Car Vault.